Good night, Chute Nation. Welcome to another episode of Truth You Know. Don't know. This is a podcast where we just talk about random topics. I'm Dunks. We have Il King. We have Suna. We have Ras. And we have Ella. You see me? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Big up to everybody that has been watching. Big up to everybody that has been sharing and liking the videos. And just respect, you see me? Tonight's episode, we'll be talking about the election results. So this is part 3 to, our Jamaican election 2020. So you guys can check out part 1 and part 2. The link is in the description. See me? So where do we start as it relates to the elections? I think it was surprising for everybody. Well, for me, let me talk for myself. Honestly, the results kind of blew me away in a way. Like, I never did I expect it to be so,
One-sided.
Yeah, I didn't expect PMP to win, honestly, but I didn't expect them to lose so badly.
Right. Everybody echoed that same statement there?
Yeah, man. And the voter turnout, I know I said it was low, but I never expected it that low.
Yeah, the voter turnout was very low, and that is one of the major talking points after the election as well. So for the people who don't know, most of our fans probably, or most of our viewers probably know the results, but the JLP won 48 seats and the PNP won 15. And when we say 15, trust me, it could have been about 8 because some people really and truly just make it over the line by a little bit. And I guess we can start there. Elections, or especially Jamaican elections, there is always mention of safe seats and, certain seats being unlocked for certain parties. I feel like this election kind of showed that, see, them not really safe no more. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'm glad for one that, that culture is dying out and I don't think it's actually died out per se, because I've had conversations with people where they're like PMP, diehard PMP, and they say they'd never give Labour right to vote, but they just couldn't give PMP either, so they just never vote. Right? So still have your die-hearted people, but in terms of people who are putting in their votes, they seem to be more leaning towards, voting for who is doing things for the people versus just voting for your party.
Yeah. As it relates to that, as I said, I'm happy about the direction that everything is going. If that is the case, really and truly, because there should not be a safe seat. Like, what is that, or why we have safe seats? Like, nobody can give you an answer to that. Like, why?
Sometimes our people go through. So, like, back in the past, a lot of people never voted for JLP because when them did win in the 90s and some whole heap of violence did happen. So some communities had a lot of violence from either side. So you have a community who, when the JLP did win, they go through an era where them did face a lot of violence because of JLP supporters. So the people that grow up and say, yo, we not ever vote for JLP. And the whole community echo the sentiment, and that's so the so-called safe seat.
Safe seat, yeah.
And them just have that for years and keep it that way.
And who do something for you. So if PMP do something for you, say, or not even for you, they did something for your great-grandmother, and your great-grandmother will raise a PMP, because she had benefits at that time. Because I was saying the other day that even the people in Central, St. Andrew, I think it is, they're not voting for who is in power now. They might vote for Michael Manley. You understand? And that's how the politics kind of carry forward. So whatever he did at the time to convert your family members or your community to PNP is what they're still voting for now.
Yeah, just like Tivoli. Same way with Tivoli too. Everybody done at Tivoli vote for JLP.
Mm.
So it don't really matter who down here.
Yo,
Huh?
everybody, Ras is from Tivoli.
Allegedly. So, so allegedly everybody done at Tivoli vote for that JLP. No matter who in charge. Because them love Eddie. And I did Eddie place that. So no matter what happen, them are gonna vote for Eddie. JLP win and them still I say, yo, Eddie gone. So can show you say them people just have an allegiance because of what the person before they do for them. Yeah. Them not really look on who they don't know, and I think I saw the whole safe seat thing. Really fun.
And probably the safe seat even come from even like literally being safe, you know what I mean? Because then back then you used to have whole heap of rival communities, you know what I mean? Yeah. And me not go say what that going in about. I'm pretty sure allegedly, let's say allegedly, that these persons were being aided in, you know, whatever violence or whatever as protection, and then you didn't have gangs what just rival each other. You really not gonna find nobody in the community where, you see me, a JLP man or a PNP man provide them with whatever source of, you know, ammunition or whatever. They, let's say, keep themselves safe from an opposing community, which is probably on the other side of the party spectrum. You see me? So but always will vote for them. Even it's like, you know, like we don't have people who vote for Norman Manley. And those communities, it would never change. You know what I mean? Because they're not still probably a benefit from
what was done or what
so the generation right through, that's still a benefit. Unlike because what I would think would have happened to PNP is where a lot of their supporters were very old. So it's because they support are older than JLP supporters. After a while, them just either can't vote or dead, and them votes will get less. You get me? Because we really believe most of the people who vote probably young right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the reasons why
we need something like that still, you know. Like we need to see the demographic for the voters. Not only male and female, but we want to see like the age and see what the range.
That would be a very good statistic to tell, you know, how involved especially the young people are in terms of that. But as we speak about the safe seat, I guess I agree with you guys as it relates to all of that for real. And I think we're going to touch on some topics as well, where we can talk about like even the loyalty.
The crime, because you're saying but it's not allegedly. Like, we know for a fact that our political history is like violent and bloody. So to see this kind of election process going on, I mean, you have monuments in certain community where children were killed over election time. You hear stories about like JLP, PNP motorcade that come through here and they oil the road. You have, you know, stuff like that used to happen. So to see this kind of just safe election period, I really like that for us.
Yeah.
True.
And probably that's one of the reasons why the safe seat is no longer so safe. Because maybe because the violence subside, a man really feel like if him vote the other way, somebody will come burn down his house and them sort of stuff there. So them feel more empowered to go out and just vote for who them a vote for and know say private. Say the person in the electoral position now go tell the man out the road, say, boy, this is Sashina, she vote, nah, like she vote Labour. And then them come at Sash house and ready for damage because how you do that. So I think that's one of the reasons as well for you.
On the flip side, you know, both of the parties, well, not both, all of the parties who run, they have to watch out in terms of the voter turnout, you know, because each year, each time it's getting lower and lower. So what is happening to the non-voters?
But what I wonder is that on the people for not voting, or is just that the party them does really that poor that the people them don't really see the purpose of voting. Like, to them is like at the same thing them I get. Like, you are give me A, you are give me option B, me feel like I see them option them and me not find none of them viable. So what do I do? Who do I really?
When there is something to vote for, people will vote. So, for example, if JLP go in and like do a whole heap of crap, people are going to vote. They're watching next election and you're going to see how much people vote because they're not going to allow that to continue. You understand? So I guess if it's a case where JLP is doing such a bad job, everybody would really want to get them out. So I think the voter turnout would have been more in terms of things like that. But I think it's a responsibility of the people, like you should actively pick your government.
I disagree. I get what you say, but I kind of disagree. I think it's on the government really and truly, because what I think the voter turnout is showing is that people don't trust the government.
No
really.
confidence.
Because you're the one that's supposed to hold the government accountable, but we have this kind of short attention span where things happen, we tweet about it for 2 days and we move on. So it's not really, because, all right, for people, you know, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So if you have government that don't face any consequences from the people to talk about, they're going to do whatever they do. So if you want good governance, if you want whatever, you have to be more, you know, steadfast in what you're having an outrage or uproar about, so that something can actually come of it.
It kind of rough too, because of the political process as well. Because if me a vote for my constituency, not necessarily for the government. Me a vote for the MP, who whether I'm a performer or not perform. And the thing is, I might have a JLP MP who not perform, but me might believe say JLP I do really well. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to what do I do then? Do I vote for the JLP MP because I want JLP to win? Or even though I know him not do nothing for my community? Or I vote for the PNP MP because I believe say, I want to give somebody else a chance and I believe say them we probably do a better job. But me no want PNP to win. So how that, you know, the political process kind of tricky there. So.
And that's one of the point where I try to say too. Like, I feel like the people want to vote. I don't feel like people don't want to vote. I don't feel like people don't want to participate. I just think that the options, what they might get, is almost like just two ridiculous options. You're not even one partaking in it. I think that is a part of what's happening as well. Like, none out of turnout, like basically most people, if you talk to majority of people, them say government are basically just frauds. Like all of them promise all of them things. We've heard it already. We basically just lose trust in the government. And that is, I think, that is what the low voter turnout is showing as it relates to that.
For me, I think for the low voter turnout, because honestly, even if I could have voted, I would not have, because of COVID. That's one.
Yeah, that.
Not have gone. So I'm thinking that because, is it Earl Maxam? Earl Maxam was saying that his prediction was 42% for the voter turnout. I was saying that was really high because knowing that COVID is a factor, you know what I mean? And people, I personally wouldn't want to be out there voting, and I'm healthy. So you can imagine all of the older people who would normally rally out and vote. Well, I'm not saying that they are thinking as I am, because a lot of these persons who are partisan, they don't care. I mean, based on the celebrations before the elections, we could see that a lot of these persons, COVID is not a thing to them. So, I mean, I was thinking over that. COVID could have been one of the reasons why the voter turnout was that low. And then I still believe that as the population gets older, we are going to lose more PNP voters. And I think that also may have contributed to the turnout and also the landslide loss. So, I mean, for me, you know, that's what I'm thinking. That a lot of the persons, not they switched their vote, or they did, you know, or they did not vote, but some of them were unable to, probably because of age. Well, I guess we need the demographic to tell, you know what I mean? But that is what I'm thinking, in a way.
Okay. I think the people that they targeted to, like, both, well, not just the assumptions, but I think the JLP, they targeted a more younger group of set of people out there. PNP was more depending on the die-hearted and older folks and stuff. And just by the interviews and so forth, by the statisticians and just some media personnel, they were trying to say that what is happening is that the status quo has changed. Like, usually if you grew up in a PNP house or a JNP house, but however, that has changed now. Actually, voting is or what is a vote for. The who must forward. I don't have.
Suna is breaking up.
But just as
You're breaking up.
Suna.
Hold on. You look like your neck kind of.
So when I freeze.
yeah.
All right, well, say about that part, bro.
Yeah, what I was saying is that I think what Ella was saying is that if you don't perform, you just get voted out.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be and in some sense I kind of agree to it because you have to keep the government accountable. We are a democracy, so people have to hold whichever government accountable. But I think as young individuals, you must align yourself to choose at least one of the parties, align yourself to it and build that party. Work with whichever government is in power.
Yeah. Very interesting that you said that, because I always about the loyalty or the alignment to a certain party, especially for the younger generation. I always find that very weird as a method of going into politics, even though it is the norm.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like stuff like national debates and just actions and what the people stand for should carry the weight. Because I feel like if you align with a certain party, you can just find the good in whatever is being done. You understand? Versus you can swing anyway, and it's based on what is presented to you. Then you can make your decision. So, as I said, I find it surprising to say that I said that.
I say to say this because, like, for instance, just a follow-up, like, I was listening to some media persons like Mark Wignall and so forth, and Ella raised this point as also earlier, saying like the Norman Malley days and so forth, is that both parties need to let go of the old ideologies and not let go, but yes, you're going to remember those stalwarts in the party, but you have to remember that younger set of people are here now. So this is the social media age, this is the new age, the 21st century. They need to take the old, combine it with what the younger minds and younger generation is saying now, move forward with it. And with that said, that is where young persons can get more involved with aligning themselves to a party by just listening to the younger folks.
I think that is where the PNP party fell short. Yeah. They refused to update their form of campaigning. They refused to update their form of politics, right? And they kept coming and talking about PR politics and making fun of it. But it's not something to make fun of because it actually works. Because if you feel like your prime minister is reachable via Twitter, Twitter, you feel like you have a say, you feel like, this is somebody who is, first of all, Andrew Hollis is very, very easy to like based on his online persona. Like, he doesn't even have to be like that in real life, but based on how his PR team has presented him, he's really easy to like, right? And then now you have him up against somebody that you're not even sure, because when Peter Phillips did the debate, I was surprised, like, this man could actually have a personality, but before that, he's just like some...
Show your same PR team did really...
They presented him as just some old man who was sleeping up in a parliament. They did not do anything to, like, revive him or make him more relatable or make him more accessible. So I think them sticking to that old type of politics is what really hurt them a lot.
That's true. That's true. And, as you said that, I guess you can just transition into one of the questions that we we wanted to ask tonight. What was the biggest shock in terms of the results?
Bunting.
And stunting.
Peter Bunting and the Westmoreland seat them.
And
Westmoreland seat them.
Yeah, Westmoreland seat.
And for me, a seat were personal to me. One in a St. Elizabeth, the Santa Cruz and so on seat. From me know myself, that a PNP.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is a man will come from near the area, Baselwaite, and him lose a so-called safe seat by a lot of votes.
But that one is
even close.
That seat the tricky doing us because the JLP representative was a PNP, you know, and then an independent.
Them never give him a chance.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm switch. I never get a chance to run.
Yeah.
All right. So where you say the center seat was it the big one for your ass?
Yeah, man, that one did big for me because PNP was counting on Baselwaite, you know, because he's a very smart guy. So them really did a count on him because them need somebody like that in a them cabinet to be like either opposition at the time or them did a go for the win. So them would have need a person like that with that knowledge and something. So I feel like that seat they really cramped them style.
Yeah.
And him probably give up on the politics thing now, which would have really bad for them because him are one of them major advisors. So I think that seat that did big.
Okay. Verily, what you say? What was your shocker?
I think Westmoreland for sure. And Wickham McNeil, because you know everybody, as far as I know, if PNP lose Westmoreland, then pretty much Jamaica, as far as I know, because Westmoreland's like their foreground. That is PJ Patterson place. You know what I mean? So
Roger Clark.
You know what I mean? So I mean, like all of the strong man them out of PNP for them place that. So when they lose, so you know, is very hard for them to really rally back. And I must say something that I think it's a strategy by JLP. I've never really seen any of the parties use this much women. They use 90 women candidates. And some of them when them win, they would have lost. But I think they would have lost it. You know, but I mean, then again, them really did work hard. So, but you see, I think the women made a very big impact in
big up the females.
Yeah, man, 19 is really a lot, and I think I'm not sure if I think probably only one of those women lost.
A couple of them lose, man.
Well, most of them won.
Yeah, most of them won. Yeah.
They put up good fights, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was really a game changer, and I mean, I think it also get it up because PNP had 12 candidates who were women, and JLP 19, and it's really a shift. It's really getting into the modern era, you know what I mean? Because women are loving, and you know what I mean.
I have one thing to say about the women them too. I feel like the more women win seats, we'll probably see a reduction in a crime. Sorry. I don't know if it actually going to happen, but me just have this feeling like it make more sense.
Yeah. There's a high possibility.
Yeah, I feel them correlate.
So really, you say the Westmoreland seat and the fact that there are a lot of women candidates are the biggest shocker for you and the winners, yeah?
Well, the women weren't shockers. They were more like, you know, I was happy to see them, and I mean, but the shocking was the Wickham McNeil situation because, you know, Westmoreland was always orange, so, you know.
Yeah. All right, Ella, what was your biggest?
As I said, Peter Bunting, because based on how even when he was vying for party president, how he present himself and how they come out like this man have everything, I was shocked. Like I thought this man would have win by a landslide just based on, you know, I don't know. I thought he was working. I thought he was doing the most. I thought he was loved. I thought he was whatever. But then I recall seeing a tweet that said the out and something song rub the people the wrong way. Kind of sound like in my hype on them. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
I was surprised. And then it was this young girl that honestly I haven't really heard of. Like I didn't even know that she was at the stage to run like that. Because I know that she was involved in like advising before.
Yeah.
But she's been on some campaign teams, but I didn't know that she was running. And she win like
Rhoda Moy
Yeah.
Crawford. Yeah.
Girl from the soil, you know?
Yeah, from the soil. Not born and raised
Born and
Manchester.
grow.
Yeah, born and grow.
So Suna, what was your shocker, Suna?
To be honest, you know, leading up to the elections, the shocker was Peter Bunting for true. Leading up to the elections, I really wasn't really focusing on Rhoda Crawford's movements and stuff. I know that she was doing a lot. She was very strategic about it. And I think people were just as Ella said, we were just saying Peter Bunting would have secured. Now, what happened is that I think Peter Bunting and the PMP, they were just settling on the diehard and settling on the people that are directly in Manchester Central. So what Rhoda did, Rhoda went to the outskirts, the people them who from Belfield, the people them from Greer Ground, Royal Flat, them places where she come from and born from. Yeah. And she do the
First, them must see a MP.
Box, you know, Belfield is a PMP box.
Yeah, because Manchester is usually a PMP town too. So what she did, she just make sure, because I think the focus, the PMP, when they're doing elections, they focus too much on Mandeville as a town itself, just the central part of it. That's where the core voters come from. So I think that's the thing. So them lose sight of that, and Rhoda was just there working underneath. The thing is though, a lot of people don't know that she has a lot of strong support on her team. For instance, Danville Walker was on his team. Remember Danville Walker in the last election? He lost by little amount of votes. I'm pretty sure if he had run again against Bunting, he would have won.
He would have probably win.
Yeah, he would have won. So what he did, so people might be looking at her and say that where she get the support from and so forth, but she has a very strong team. And as I said, Danville Walker would have guided her in this election and it worked out. So yeah.
Another thing affected like the election is when they were having the conflict within the party for PMP. I think the way that they went about it and some of the things that they said about Peter Bunting is either it made other PMP people lose confidence in him as a leader, or it rubbed them the wrong way. Like
not Peter Bunting, Peter Phillips.
Peter Phillips, even things that Bunting said about the party and stuff, and the G2K took those things and ran with it. Like even, for instance, just to highlight one of them, the PMP in their manifesto is saying that they would pay the $3,000 to each person for the light bill. And Bunting is there making a speech saying that he used to pay the light bill for the PMP general office. So
credibility.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
my biggest shocker though was just the sheer overpowering of the JLP still. That's the thing what take me out the most. So including the Peter Bunting, how Lisa Hannah Harley win. A lot of those safe seats that felt like just the whole thing, like yo, but it really shocked, you see me? Them half of the people can't even actually recount because the margins of the losses were so wide, you see me? They not even need to look in that direction. So
they're fearful.
Yeah. So that was my biggest shocker still.
I think also
another thing too, Mary and Peter Phillips, that was crazy. Like for her to give him that good of a competition, she did a really good job.
If that seat, just to say, Ella, that seat, usually persons who run in that season, whoever lose usually get only under 1,000 votes, And the votes that Peter Phillips got, it didn't change every year is the same amount. So that means that there was no major improvements in votes. So it's looking
So what I'm wondering, it's a case where we should look at the results and say to ourselves that, okay, even if you had wanted PMP to win, no, you can does it give you a kind of feeling like, boy, I'm glad that they never win because PMP people now vote for them, then, they obviously are working. Does it give you that kind of outlook like if they can lose in places that are dominant PMP areas, does it mean that they just were not working?
Not really for me. For me, it's more so, I just feel that people want a change. Because even over Fenton Ferguson,
to change it.
Yeah.
They want to change on what basis?
on the basis that most of the people that get voted out, especially from PNP, them are all people.
Yeah.
They've been in it a while and them in the constituency and them really just never, them a work on the same set of people them over time. Like them not try work on the rest of the community or give others certain things and so on. So I feel say that really beat them down. And then another thing is that in the JLP strongholds where them have for them major persons, PNP just believe to me that them just lose them seat there. But them just literally just send anybody to them seat there.
Yeah.
The only one I see them really send out was the young guy there. Them send him up to Malahoo.
Right.
And Price.
Yeah.
And them did do really good. But if you realize, them send Price to Terry Long, who pretty much knew. And them send the other guy, Andre Horton. Them send him to Malahoo, who basically she not know big stalwart in the whole political thing. Whereas the big stalwarts to JLP, them pretty much just left them alone. That them say, oh, them are go win. Why just send anybody?
Right.
Yeah.
But I have been receiving that kind of laid back energy from PMP. Even in the, like, I don't know if we can progress the conversation to this, but people are saying that based on the difference in seat, then democracy is at risk and blah 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 whatever. But for me, I didn't see where as an opposition they were doing a lot of opposing in the house, or they had a strong voice or anything like that. Anyway,
because the PMP was or is in shambles because the whole fight for leadership, and I think it's a total breakdown. There's like a new PMP, a new ideology, and thing need to start again. It's like they're not seeing a reset right now. Total reset. Yeah.
Because
if it was one positive they should take from this loss is that it's a chance to rebuild.
Yeah.
Really.
And definitely, I think the election worked out in the favor of rebuilding PNP because first of all the people who would have been stalwart in the PNP that could have taken leadership up, them basically lose them seats. So, and then who is left basically hanged on to their seats, meaning that the confidence around the entire party is very low. So now they have to come together now and decide. You can't. No one is standing out. Well, apart from what's the lady in Kingston name again?
Well,
you have she, but win by 98%. But I mean, I don't even think she's trying to lead the party.
A Porsche seat that
Exactly. I mean, she's strong enough. She could have probably win any seat after one of them people. But I mean, at the end of the day, it worked out in the favor of them reshuffling the party. Them need to get in some new people. Them need to, obviously, as Russ was saying, the older persons and the persons who already had their seats and were strong in those safe areas, they probably just always give out even the work and everything to people who just school and people who one set of people keep the same thing. I get my choice in a diversify in the entire constituency, and that is definitely an issue. You get me? I say so. Based on just that, yes, you go have. So
one of the talking points around Floyd Green too, because they said that in the COVID time when their produce wasn't selling and blah blah blah, he came in and he helped everybody, not just JLP people, but he helped everybody. So
right.
Now, as far as being here,
so real quick. Yeah, man, Floyd Green going good for real. So real quick because timer. You guys can tell us what you want to see from the new government. What you guys looking forward for?
Custom reform, focus on farming, focus on another industry to make the economy grow outside of tourism, and focus on education, making it more accessible for poor people, stuff like that.
Okay.
I want to see more young people get more major roles, because I know a lot of people say JLP have a lot of young persons and that's one of the reasons they voted for them and so on. But there are not a lot of young people in major roles. For example, education, those are the major roles. It's mostly run by 80-something-year-olds. So I really like to see them give the younger guys a chance, because I want to see something new. That's what I want to see. I believe say the younger guys are going to really do something like that.
Yeah, because they were previously impacted by it. I mean, the points that were just made were pretty much customs for real. Like, that is one of my issues, and I think it will forever be. And then there is I don't know who is going to be able to make energy more cost efficient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that is definitely something. I mean,
good luck with that.
yeah. No, but
Yeah.
you know, that is me. I mean, our JPS gone in a bag of things in this COVID region, COVID season, and and the government pretty much just say, yeah, them can do that. So
Yeah.
I mean, we that is me right now. Everything else plus that.
For me, I just wish the people just keep the government more accountable. Yes, people might say that there's no PMP, so there's no democracy, but I think there's still democracy. We, the people, need to step up and hold our government accountable. And yes, get the young people involved. All of those people who want on the JLP, put them in some good parts of the party which they can actually perform. And as Ella said, yeah. And the thing is, big pluses to the JLP in providing jobs and so forth over the years. However, I think the quality of the jobs, they need to find other industries where we can get young people involved in some quality jobs in terms of the returns and so forth. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. For me, definitely crime. Like, yo, we need to fix crime like immediately. And then agriculture is another thing that I would love to see some improvements in, and just investing in local everything. Because even during COVID, one of the biggest thing was we started to manufacture some of the stuff that we had to import. So like hand sanitizer, get one 3D printer and start print some face shields and stuff like that. So we definitely should move in that direction. All right. So okay, guys. You guys can definitely let us know what you think, what you want from the new government. Tell us your biggest shocker and just your general reactions to the election and everything. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for tuning in. Bless up.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe.